we have to make sense of where the Niners are at, because in one sense, they're a freaking embarrassment. On the other hand, they're a game out of the playoffs with 9 to play. So let's start off by talking about positives, because we're going to do a lot of negatives. So let's start with positives, either the positives from this loss or the biggest positives the Niners have going for them at this part of the season. Jesse, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I think you just talked about it, Grant. I mean, the Vikings also lost, right? And that's a team that they're competing with. They're only a game out of the playoffs. I know that the goal was Super Bowl going into the season, but at this point, with every disaster possible going against this team, from injuries to execution to, I mean, just everything, they're only really a game out of the playoffs, and that's remarkable at this point.
I thought Jack was smiling there and not moving, but it's clear that he's frozen.
No, he really likes what I had to say. Jack, listen, my guy, it was good. I know, but you don't have to smile that much.
All right, Coach, why don't you jump in?
Brandon Ayuk looks better every game, right? And when they start to get him involved, I mean, he looked really good that game. And I think another guy, though, they didn't give him the carries, but as they got him really involved in the game, was Mitchell. Like, they threw him the ball. When they actually gave him carries, he looked really good. And then lastly is, like, Kittle came back and had a hell of a game. At least catching the ball he did. So caught his first touchdown, which in what it seems like 4 years. But
yeah, I mean, it seems to me that I like the Mitchell answer. Like, he's really good. And this is a game that you could maybe chalk up to them. Maybe they would have won had they gotten him the ball more in the first half when it was close. No problem with him. And if the 49ers are going to make it to the playoffs, it's going to be because of him. They're going to be riding him. I mean, it's not because he's their best player, but they are a run-first offense. So he's going to have to be heavily involved in the next 9 games. And this has to be the last game where he wasn't. 13 touches is enough for him.
He's a better inside runner, and he's a better receiver than Mostert.
And he's a hell of an outside runner, too. I mean, he really seems like he could be a Pro Bowl player for the 49ers. This has to be the last game where he has anything less than 17 touches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So more positives. I mean, the fact that they only lost 1 game. I mean, the fact that they have the Rams coming up. And as good as the Rams are, they looked real vulnerable in this last game, and the Niners have beaten them 4 times in a row. If you can get pressure up the middle in the pocket against the Rams, you're in business. And Eric Armstead played a really good game against He did. Let's see what Jackhammer has to say. Hey, Jack.
Are we still on the positives?
Yeah, still the positives.
Yeah.
There's so many.
There's so many of them that we're still on them.
Well, I mean, Jessie hit the main one, right? The Niners are still in a game out of the playoffs here. Everybody in front of them lost, and they have to play everybody that's ahead of them, except for Carolina. That's the only team they don't play still on their schedule. So that's the positive. Plus, I think the offense moved the ball for the most part. You just got to get your receivers to not drop it.
Yeah. Vince says, I guess teams have the book on the Niners. As soon as you show a front to stop the run, you won. That's my thing with Kyle's explanation about not running the ball. He's like, well, they played 6 D linemen. We have to pass. Like, I understand you want to take what the defense gives you, but at the same time, you don't want the defense to dictate that much. Like, if we do this, you're going to do that. I don't think – I mean, Harbaugh wouldn't let a defense dictate to him like that. You have to have certain things that you feel you can execute no matter what, like a run.
The thing is, too, that I noticed, I mean, I'm sure, Jack, you've poured through it, but he made it sound like it was 6-man fronts the whole game. It happened a few times throughout the game, and they would normally load the front on first down. So, okay, adjust. Throw on first down, run on second. Just do something different. It's not like it has to stop you completely from doing what you want to do, which is running the ball.
But this is a positive section, so we don't want to get into the negatives yet. All right,
well, the positive with that is they were moving the ball. I know they weren't running it, but they were actually moving the ball. It wasn't the play calls worked, except for the execution of a drop by your tight end a fumble by your tight end and a fumble by your receiver, but the ball, they were moving the ball. If you don't have the fumbles, we're not having this discussion. I don't think.
You think the Niners would have won this game if Kittle and Debo hadn't fumbled?
It would have been a different game, I think, because at the point in which the first Kittle fumble occurs, they had just shut down Arizona on their first possession. They got the ball. The completion to Kittle gets them across midfield, and who knows what happens on the drive. But if they can go and score points, I don't know how it would have played out if it would have been differently. But those two plays, I think, they take points away from the 49ers, and Arizona responds by going right down the field on it both times.
Yeah. So the Niners moved the ball well, but turned the ball over and lost. Heard that a lot in this era.
The one thing I will say,
move the ball well, too many turnovers lost. Yep.
Yeah, that's Kyle Shanahan's entire offensive.
Harbaugh didn't move the ball nearly as well as Shanahan, did he?
No.
But they didn't turn the ball over as much, and they won. So,
and they scored more
positive
points.
Here. This is positive.
Yes.
My natural inclination is to get negative.